All right, here we are in MIN 10, Silence and Solitude. These are actually two separate disciplines. Silence is a discipline on its own, and solitude is a discipline on its own, but they are oftentimes paired together and work really well in compatibility with one another. Silence is when we don't need to fill ourselves with noise or busyness, and solitude is when we withdraw to have some time free of distraction. And silence and solitude are a means of grace because through silence, a quieting, through solitude, a removal of distractions, we are able to experience God in particular ways here. Our culture loves to be busy and oftentimes marks worth by busyness. However, when we accept silence and solitude as a means of grace, it allows us to step back, to not be in control, to not do, to not produce, but to simply be with God. We have so much noise with all of our technology and other things that we often don't give ourselves any room or space for silence. We surround ourselves with family and work and friends and hobbies and activities, and solitude is also something that we don't practice. But one of the things that we see is that Jesus models silence and solitude for us throughout the scriptures. Jesus often withdraws to be in a quiet place. Jesus goes into the wilderness for 40 days by himself to be in solitude. This is part of his preparation for the path that lays before him. We even see in the Garden of Gethsemane that as he goes, he asks his disciples to stay and pray, but he goes by himself to be in silence and solitude. And so one of the things that we see through Jesus modeling these things is that there's an intimacy with God that comes from withdrawing. There is something to following the example of Jesus Christ that requires us to also take a step out at times to quiet our hearts, quiet our souls, go to a place where there isn't noise and there isn't distraction so that we can actually have time to be with God. There are a lot of practical ways to practice silence and solitude. Maybe it means going on a walk by yourself. Going by a hike in nature. Nature is always helpful for me in engaging with silence and solitude. Maybe you're able to take a day-long retreat and go get out somewhere, maybe a beach, maybe a lake, maybe a wood, maybe just a walk through a city, and spend some time where you're able to let God just be with you without an agenda, without things that you have to check off and produce and do, but rather just be. So that's an encouragement today. Practice silence and solitude. Set yourself a time that is reasonable for you and go be alone with God.